Hi, this is Scott Geitler from Blue Water Photo, and today I'm going to talk to you about the new Recsea housing for the Sony RX-100 III camera. Recsea is a company that makes their housings in Japan out of aluminum. It's a very small housing, compact, and it has excellent ergonomics. It has great controls. I shot this housing a few times over the last week in my pool, and the housing worked really great. Let me go over some features. If you're familiar with the other Recsea housings, it's very similar. It's very straightforward and easy to open. It's easy to check the O-ring to make sure that there's no dirt or lint on it, and it closes and you hear a loud snap, so you know the housing is very secure. The housing comes with fiber optic ports, so you can put in CNC or inon fiber optic strobes. The housing has a small port, and the housing includes a 67mm adapter in case you want to use wet lenses, and I recommend Loctiting that adapter to the port, basically effectively turning into a 67mm thread. The housing has a very nice control dial on the back for changing your rear control dial, and the front control dial works excellent. I was shooting in the pool in manual mode, and I was changing my aperture and shutter speed effortlessly. I haven't used the RX-100 in a little while, and the controls on the back were all nicely labeled on the side of the housing, so it was very straightforward for me to look at the labels and instantly know which button to press if I needed to do that. The shutter, you just push the shutter towards the housing, and it worked really well. It was very natural. For someone who's just holding the housing in the hand, I think it's a very natural mechanism to hold and press it like that. And I had no problems getting the shots off exactly when I wanted to. The zoom control worked very nice. In fact, you have control over all of the functionality of the RX-100 Mark III camera. There's a hot shoe mount where you can put a ball mount for a focus or video light, and there's an additional M10 screw, so you can put a second ball mount if you needed to for, say, a GoPro. Let's talk about the Sony RX-100 III camera for a minute. I just put up a detailed review on the Underwater Photography Guide, and while the camera is really amazing image quality and great video, just like the RX-100 1 and 2, they changed the lens, so the macro capability is not as good. Your wet lens options are more limited. I tested it with like 5 different wet lenses. The Inon H100 lens worked pretty well. The Diron super wide lens worked very well. That was the widest angle of view. But you don't have the ability to use my favorite lens, which is a UWL-04 fisheye lens like you do with the RX-100 1 or 2. So take a look at the review, and if you don't really need those additional new features of the RX-100 Mark III, you may want to look at getting the 1 or 2 instead. This strobe I'd recommend also for macro. If you are going to use macro with this housing, you'll probably want 1 or maybe 2 stacked Blue Water +7 macro lenses to really be able to get small stuff, because again, the macro without a macro lens, you're looking at an area about 4 inches across. It's pretty wide for the best macro you can do. CNC strobes work great with this housing and camera. Recommend the YSO2, YSO1, or my personal choice would be the CNC YSD1 strobe. Again, I really like the housing. I think it's going to be very popular, just like the other Recsea housings are. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call or contact us, and visit us at bluewaterphotostore.com. Thanks.